Okay. You think this is your solution for long-term water storage? It's time to rethink.
Hey, Provident Preppers, I'm Jonathan, and we've been looking for the best water storage system that we can find, and we just found it. Ryan's here from Rockwell Water Systems. Ryan, tell us a little bit about who you are, your history, and your mission.
Yeah, so Ryan with Rockwell Water Systems. We've been in business since 2009. We're established here in Utah, and our mission began with a desire to replace the 55-gallon barrels that just really weren't practical for our needs. And so it was more of a mission to solve a problem that we had for ourselves. And it turned into something much bigger than that. Over the years, we've run into some really good partnerships that have allowed us to grow. Really, as we've grown, we've become very passionate about water storage and how important it is just to everyone. And our mission is now to help everyone in the United States have some form of emergency water storage that is accessible, that's secure, and that's safe. And we just feel like there weren't a lot of great options on the market. And so we decided to create the best option that really the United States has. And so we're excited to introduce new product lines, but also our mission remains the same, is that we really want to help people understand how to store water, where to store water, and how to organize their water in their lives so that they feel peace of mind in troubled times.
And so a piece of this is you're the whole package. I mean, you're doing the education, you've got all the products that they need. It's going to depend on each individual system,
yeah,
but you've got the whole range of products and the education and everything that goes with that.
So really what we've come across and what the challenge has been is, how do we allow everybody to have some form of emergency water storage? Whether you're living in a tent or a camper or you're in the Taj Mahal, like, you need water storage, and what is the best solution for that? And so, as you can see in our background, we have tanks as small as 3.5 gallons going all the way up to 275 gallons, or stackable options that go to 320 gallons. And really, we just want to make sure that people can find a good quality water storage system and that they can scale it as they grow, and something that can work with their budget as they grow. And so that's really also part of our mission, is to help people grow into their water storage so that they have everything that they need as their families grow, as their homes grow, and all those types of things. So
speaking of education, let's talk a little bit about some of the myths around emergency water. Everybody has a different belief about what they'll do in an emergency, all the way from doing nothing all the way to, well, I've got a river behind me. But talk about the myths and why storage of water is really important.
Yeah, it's shocking. I mean, when you look at basic human needs, you have shelter, you have food, you have water. Everybody always says to us, in an emergency, it's okay, I'll be fine. I have a pool. I have a hot tub. There's a lake by my house. We got a river. And they come up with all these ideas, and I just think to myself, is that really your option A? Is that really what logically you're going to do in an emergency? And then a lot of people also think that there's just going to be immediate access to water bottles at Costco, Target, or Walmart. And in a real emergency, everybody's going to be fighting over all of that. And you just don't want to put yourself in that type of situation. So really what we've done is we're just trying to help people understand, number one, you need more water than you think. Number two, you're not always going to have access to water. And number three, water is something that is so critical and easy to store if you just know how to do it and you know where to find a resource. And that's why we're here, is to really provide all the knowledge that you need and help you get started so that you understand, number one, how much you need, and number two, how to use it when the time actually comes when you need it. Because the time will come.
Yeah.
And part of our mission is, like, we really believe in the next 4 to 5 years, every home in the United States will have some form of emergency water storage. And we really want to be a big part of that. So that's kind of where we're at. But really, if you think about going to a lake with your life straw and sucking out of a lake, that is not option A. And if you really think you're going to go to a river and you're going to haul, just tons of water.
Water's heavy.
Yeah, you don't want a hydro hernia. You do not want that. Coin that. But you just don't want to deal with that when you could just go out into your garage, or you could go down to, like, your food storage or your basement, open up a faucet, and know that you have like a good water source that you're not going to have to treat, boil, and do tons of treatments on to get it to be able to where you can drink it.
Right.
And then also, like, in an emergency, people think, oh, I'm just going to need a gallon a day. Okay, that's so false. You're going to need to wash your hands. You're going to need to cook. You're going to want to perhaps feed a pet, flush a toilet, maybe shower. Right. You know, you might want to do some of those things after 4 or 5 days, right?
Sure.
And so really that's what we're trying to help people understand is you need more water than you actually think, and we're here to teach you how much you need and how to store it properly and then how to use it. So.
And I think if you look at averages across the country, and it's going to vary some depending on where you are, but most of us are using, 150 to 300 gallons per day per home, and some more, some less, but it's a lot more than we sometimes think it is.
Absolutely, and like, if you do the research, yeah, I mean, the average household uses 300 gallons per day, and if you think about that, we actually do, if you shower. But then you go to like FEMA's website. Number one, FEMA's not your plan A in an emergency either.
No,
but you go to FEMA's website or Red Cross and they say a gallon a day. And then you start to think about that and it's like, well, if I'm in Arizona, really? Is a gallon a day gonna be it? Is that the way to go? Or if I'm in Canada, is that still enough? No, it's just not enough water. And so we're here to help people kind of bridge that gap of 1 gallon versus we're using 300. Okay, what's a good middle ground where you guys actually have the water that you need? And some people always think like, I'm gonna go bare minimum. And we're just thinking, okay, you can actually be comfortable. And that's what we're helping people understand too, is like, you don't have to always go for the bare minimum in emergencies. You can actually have a little bit extra and have some comforts if you do it right.
Right.
So,
as part of our searching, we've been trying to find, who out there is really the best, and we landed on you.
Yeah.
And tell us about why you're a cut above everybody else out there.
I think we've become the best emergency water storage tank supplier because we knew it was out there. And we knew it just didn't meet the standard that we wanted. And so as we look at a lot of these tanks, a lot of them are they're blow molded. And what that means is it's a process to where they make a tank that's just produced and it's very thin, right? And it's very kind of like the edges are very fragile and it's just not a good source. Most people have a blow molded product in their garage under a pile of stuff. And we just thought that's just not the right way to do it. And so we started producing tanks that are rotationally molded, and that allows you to get a much thicker, more robust tank. And then we started with, okay, what type of material do we need? And we found literally through interviewing so many resin suppliers, the best material we could find. And yeah, is it more expensive? Of course, sure. But it brings much more higher value. And really one of the things that sets us apart is we have a UV 22 rating, whereas most of our competitors, they're gonna sit at like, probably a UV 12 or a UV 8, right? So we're much higher there, which protects your water, also adds a few other components that are necessary for water storage. And so there's those components. So how the tanks are made, what they're made from, and really how much resin you're putting in your tank, because in an emergency, you don't know what type of impact these tanks are gonna have to take, right? Like they could, something could fall on them, something could, somebody could really try and come and do lots of different things with your tank. And so we add more resin, right? So like our competition is usually anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds lighter than we are. And so we just get a more robust tank. Is it a higher cost? Yes. But is it more peace of mind for our customers? Absolutely. And so that's really how we think about our tanks. And that's what sets us apart, just our attention to the quality, to the production, and to the materials, right?
Right.
And then on top of that, we've added a few things to help the tank be more functional and secure, right? So for example, we do modularity, right? So our tanks are modular. So you could start with this tank, grow into this tank fairly easily, right? So our tanks actually have secured faucets so that like your grandkids or some rogue water lover can't go in and just take your water, right? And these actually store on top of the tank. So you have more of a secure system. That makes us different, right? And then the design. So like you see this design here, we didn't do elliptical just to make it look cool, but this will actually fit through most doors. And so if you want to get it down into a cold storage area, you can. And that's very valuable because people don't always want to have their water in a garage where everybody can see it, right?
Right.
And so it just allows for that to be able to be done more easily. This tank right here would be one that you could put in your garage, but it would also be able to go through doors. So you'd be able to get it down to a cold storage unit. This one here is really good for garages or down in a cold storage as well. And it's got an earthquake strap for those areas in the world that are more prone to earthquakes. So we've just thought about those types of things. Like all of our spigots have these caps. Now, we don't have to do that, but that's just a sanitation thing. Like we want the water to come out through something that's been protected, because you know, you'll have bugs and things like that that'll just kind of be in that area. So we try to be really sanitary as well. And then if you look on this tank, we've thought of things like, this is a hose holder. So if you want to fill your tank, you can actually put the hose in there, it'll pinch it, and you can fill your tank so you're not having to sit here and hold the hose or anchor it some way so that it goes flying out. So we've just thought of a lot of different features that make the tank very user-friendly. And then on the back of these tanks, you can't see it, but at the top of each tank, there's a little hole where you can actually drain the tank. When you go to rotate your water, you can ensure that you can get like 99.9% of the water out so that you don't have that older water that goes back into your source, right? So it's a really nice feature. And then so each tank comes with a cap that allows air to enter as the water comes out so you don't get a collapse, which is a good feature, which is just nice. And then it restores itself so that you are protected and that no bugs or anything can get back down in there. So that's nice.
Talk to us about the feature that allows these to lock in, those smaller ones up top.
So for example, on a series of our tanks, there are some pegs on top, and it allows for us to lock these smaller tanks into the top. And that's a nice feature. And that's just something that we thought of because we wanted that as well. We wanted to be able to store supplies or food, freeze-dried food up top on top of the tanks. And so that's something that allows us to do that. So as you can see, if we put it there, it locks in. And it's kind of a nice feature there. The other thing too is we don't have it here, but each tank comes with a rotation schedule. And so that rotation schedule will adhere to the tank, and you can mark when you put your water in so you actually know when it's time to rotate it. And that's really nice. Instead of trying to calendar that or do something like that, it's actually just right there. Another nice feature too on a lot of our tanks is we have this upper faucet where if you had a container like this and you were in an emergency, you could fill this up with water and go with it, right? If you had to, if that was a situation that you were put into. And so that's kind of a nice feature as well. And then the rest of the water you can drain out through the bottom, which is also a nice feature, just so you don't have to, like those old 55-gallon barrels, you'd have to pump it out. And you just don't want to spend time pumping water. No one likes that. That's not the preferred method. So
that's one of the things that really appealed to me. And all these little small things are the attention to detail that this engineer likes. Yeah. The key was kind of a key component. Key component, get it? You know, because I've always worried that our kids are going to go down. We've got one downstairs that they could just go in. If they got in that room, they can just turn on the taps and drain it. I wouldn't probably even know it till a water alarm went off or until I went downstairs and was walking in water. So that appeals to me a lot. All these little things that you've optimized, just amazing to me.
And that's really part of our brand is just we really attention to detail, and the little things matter. And so we've just really tried to take everything that we didn't like about the existing water storage tanks, and we've just made it that much better. And we feel like we are always trying to go the extra mile on making sure that we're developing the best products. And we're sincere about that because we have these in our own home, and we want to make sure that the people that surround us have the same type of product that they can count on. So
one of the things that I'm really impressed with your company is that you're a small family-owned business and everything's made here in the United States. These aren't shipped in from some other country. Tell us a little bit more about your philosophy.
Our philosophy is that you can really control some of the aspects of your product, which we can through being a small business. You're able to move a lot more quickly with your product development. You're able to also really keep an eye on the quality and really control your branding a lot better. And that's really what we're about, is we want to make sure that all of our products are made here in the United States and that they are the highest quality possible. And sometimes as you outsource some of those things, you lose grip on that, right? And so we don't want to lose the grip on that, but we also want to continue to grow. And so we always find ourselves in that spot of how big do we go, how quick? But right now we're in a good spot, and we've got a good product line that we can we can talk about a little bit more and explain which each one is used for.
Yeah, let's do that right now. That's another thing that appealed to us, is there's not just one option.
Yeah.
You've got a whole range of options, and those can meet almost any need that's out there. So talk about each of these products and where they can be used, and some ideas on where people might have those stored.
You bet, yeah. So a lot of people come to us and they ask us, they say, listen, we don't know how much water we need. We don't know where to put it. We don't know anything about water, right? Like, what do we do? And so we refer them always to our calculator that's on our website. And what the calculator does is it really helps people dial in the climate that they're in versus the number of people and the uses that they want to have for water, right? Yeah. So literally you can go in and click, 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 and it'll show you exactly what size of tank would be best for your family. So if you were to go into there and say, hey, we need this amount of water right now, but we're planning on having kids, well, let's go to this tank. This would be a good one for like a newly married couple, right? That's going to start a family because they can grow into a tank like this. These tanks are very nice because they can fit pretty much anywhere in your home, right? They're a really great garage tank, but also they go really well in the basements. A lot of people will put these in cabins, and they'll put them in, vacation homes. Like, they'll put them just pretty much anywhere where they want water storage. So this is really a good scalable option for people, right? You can get, this is 165 gallons times 2, 320 gallons, which is really nice. That's a lot of water. That's a good starting point. This one here is 275 gallons, which would be good for maybe like a family of 4, right? And a family that has, just very minimal garage space, but needs a lot of water. You guys have to remember that these tanks, this one right here stores as many as 5 55-gallon barrels. So, and if you look at the floor space, it's quite a bit less. So, and this is just a really nice one for that type of setting. But people will put these at their cabins, they'll put them in their garages, and they'll put them in cold storage. So they're very nice. This one is very similar. It's just a little bit wider, and it won't go through every door. So a lot of people put these in their garage. And if people really want to do that earthquake strap, this is really a great tank for that. And a lot of people will use this tank also, which we haven't talked about a lot, but a lot of people will do an inline system. These are all independent systems, which is very valuable, especially when most of the issues that happen in the United States are contamination related, right? So this is really a good option if you want to have an inline option that you want constantly circulating throughout your home. So we offer kind of both resources to help people really choose what they need to. So, and then this guy right here, this would probably be best for like townhomes, right? Or for maybe just an older couple that lives together and they just want some type of emergency water storage. But these fit really well in smaller garages. They fit really well in smaller space. They can fit even in people's homes. And it's 55 gallons, so it's good.
110 gallons here, very compact. Yeah. I like it, yeah.
And then this one right here, a lot of people love this tank for camping, for RV life, for outdoors, ATV type of activities. This tank is really good for that. But also, I mean, you can scale this tank up if you just wanted to use them for both things. If you wanted to have in-home water storage, or if you wanted to take it on the road, this is really a great option. And it's 35 gallons. It stacks too high, so you could get 70 gallons.
So this one would really be a great, just entry level.
Yeah, awesome.
And that's, maybe some families, that's all they can afford for now is to get something like this, but then it can grow.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a great entry level for anyone, I guess.
Yeah, you could really scale, like we talked about. Our mission also is to really educate people, bring them the best quality products, but also help them grow into their water storage. And so this would be an awesome way to start. Or here, either one of these options would be great to start with. And then as you grow into water, you can continue to add. And that's really a nice feature, right? And they all have similar features, and so you kind of can scale with the same types of tanks. So you don't have a huge variety with different features and different types of production. So it's really nice.
Another feature that I just love, and maybe it's because I'm an engineer, but I love the modular nature and the ability, show us how these stack together.
Yeah, like I said, we wanted families to be able to grow into their water storage, so you can see that they lock into each other, and you can scale those up. And this one does the same. That one's good. And then our 165 also does the same thing. So really that modularity and just being able to integrate those systems is nice. And it looks aesthetic, right? So it doesn't look like it's unintentional at all. It looks like you actually are trying to organize your water. You've got something in your home that just isn't an eyesore. It just makes it really nice. So
now, quite honestly, one of the conflicts that Mama and I have is I'm okay putting these tanks on the concrete. She's absolutely not. And you've solved that.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we've really tried to make it simple for everybody. It's getting started simple. And one of the things that will help with that, we've come up with a leach barrier, and it's proprietary to us, but it's something that will protect the bottom of your tank from concrete. It also helps if you want to store anything, water bottles, anything like that. We don't encourage water bottles ever, but it's something that you could use it for. But it really keeps a barrier between the tank and the concrete, and it just adds like a nice aesthetic look, and it helps with the hygienic side of things for your tank. So it's just really nice to have that, because we never know what people are putting their tanks on. They could be putting it on like an oil spill. They could be putting it on something that's just really not great. Now, is that going to leach through this tank? No, it's not. But it is just more of a peace of mind product that you can add. Along with the leach barriers, we try to make really storing your water as simple as possible. And one of the key factors to all of this is storing your water the right way. A lot of people think that you can just go ahead and fill your tank up with like a water hose, like a garden hose or something like that. That's really going to kill your water supply quick. You're going to get a ton of bacteria and a ton of problems quick. And so in order to prevent all that and make it very simple, literally you can go on our website and purchase this kit. Very easy. We call it a starter kit. It includes the 2 sizes of leach barriers for the different sizes of tanks. It includes a water safe hose.
And this is really, really important to this engineer, because I know what's in a regular garden hose, and when Mama does a garden hose for something that should be sanitary, yeah, there's conflict.
And then in addition to that, you need to fill your tank with good potable water. Now, every water source throughout the United States is different, and so we provide a high flow water filter. And what this will do is it'll take out any big contaminants or any types of things that just you don't want to be storing in your water tank, right? And so this is really nice to have. So you'll hook this on the end of your hose, and this will run through the hose and through the filter into the tank, and you'll have filtered water that you're storing, okay? Awesome. We also supply this here. This is a biofilm protector, and what this does, it really protects your water if you're not going to rotate it. We promote frequent rotation of your water, but if we're all being honest, a lot of people won't. And so we provide this, and people can treat their water with that, and it'll just help preserve the water, so when you need it, you have good preserved water. But because I don't like adding flavoring to my water, we have added another filter, right? And you would put this filter here when you're going to get your water out, so that you run it through a second filtration, and that will really help get out any other contaminants or anything that is developed for whatever reason over time. So it's just really a 2-step filtration system to get the best water possible. Really important for us.
Well, this has been really fun, Ryan. Thank you for coming and joining us. We all know that water is extremely important, and I would argue it is the most important thing that you need to have. You can live quite a while without food, but not without water. You've got to have water. You've got to have good quality, clean water to hydrate the body and keep you healthy without any garbage in it that's going to make you sick. So this is just an amazing system that you've put together, and we are so excited to be a part of this. And if our audience is interested, we will have the link below, and if you use the promo code Provident, you get 5% off. What a great deal. Thank you again for being here. Any final parting words?
Yeah, I just want to say we appreciate our existing customer base. We've really grown fairly quickly over the past couple of years, so we really appreciate people that have supported us, but also are getting everyone in the mindset of water storage. It really is critical, and people just aren't thinking about it the way that they probably should. And our mission is to really help people start thinking the way they should about water, and really start considering an option to include in their home or wherever they may be, because there will come a day when they're going to need that water, and that's just something we want to help solve. We want to be there for our consumers. We want to be there for as many people as possible. So we really appreciate you guys taking time to let us come down and be a part of what you're doing as well. We just really think it's a great great thing you've got going, so thanks so much.
Thanks again, Ryan. And for all of us who are interested in water storage, which we all should be, check out rockwellwater.com. And remember the promo code Provident to get 5% off. And now for the question of the day. What questions do you still have for Ryan and his team at Rockwell? Put them in the comments and let's get them answered. Thanks for being part of the solution.
Look what I found. This here is a product we're considering making. We want your feedback. It's a 3.5 gallon tank. It's something that can actually go with our existing tanks on top. It's a modular piece. It also has a 5-inch lid so that you could store food, water, and supplies in. So it's got a nice opening, okay? On the front, it has this little plug. And with that, you can add different components to it so that you could carry your water around. You could water things mobilely, okay? We just want to get your feedback on this because it's in the design phase. We've done some prototypes. We think it'll be a home run. And we want to know how much you'd pay for it. So take a look at it. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Made in America. Just take it in, folks, and let us know.
You think this is a solution for long-term water storage? No way. Rethink.